iHeartRadio podcast. We are live on the air, and well, maybe not live when you hear this because it's pre-recorded, but we're still alive while we record it and live. So
that's right.
That makes sense. And we are a week removed from recording and pretty much freezing our butts off with freezing weather in Texas, and now it's like we've had all 4 seasons in about a week, and now it's humid and
just
rainy.
About.
And my allergies are like, I think it's April, and it's only January. It's like, fuck you, and we're gonna give you allergies, and you're gonna like it. And it's like, no, and I hate you, and yeah. but
For real, man.
But before we get too far into the show, let's give a quick a shout out to our sometime co-host Long. Happy birthday to him this past week.
Yeah, man. Happy birthday, dude.
We celebrated with him last week and had a good time, and he's 25 years young, I guess, somewhere around those numbers.
Somewhere around there.
And but no, a good dude, our Asian brother from another mother, and
best way to put it, man.
That's right. And so happy birthday to him. And if he listens, sometimes he listens to us when he's not on the show, but I don't know if he listens every week. And
every once in a while we'll be like, hey man, I disagree with you. And we're like,
but then we really pick on him and fuck with him. He doesn't listen. I'm like, damn, also we get a rise out of him. He heard that,
Yeah, man. It's hit or miss. I think he definitely he's probably selectively listening, but how frequently, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. He's too busy shaving his balls or something. I don't know.
Yeah, man, that takes a while.
That's what you do when you on your birthday, right? You shave
dude.
You manscape.
That's right. It's an occasion. That's why they made those shirts that say "I shaved my balls for this," like from Birds of Prey.
People own those kind of shirts.
Yeah.
It's like the people that used to own the shirts that said legend and it pointed to your junk. I'm just like, really? Are you such a self-serving fucking piece of shit that you'd own a shirt like that?
Yeah, I know, right?
But then our very old co-host Frank owned a shirt like that one time. So
I don't doubt that.
But that doesn't surprise you with Frank, I guess. Because he's just fucking Frank.
He's
enough
Frank,
to do
dude. Yeah, man. He's Frank. That's really the only way to put it.
Yeah, and we'll leave it at that. So how have you been this week, man? Good,
man. Just trying to stay dry. It's rained a lot, which is good. We didn't have rain for a while, but and it's not been as cold, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, welcome to the weather podcast where you get all your weather in Texas.
Weather today it's
47
degrees.
5 minutes and it'll change.
Yes, that's right.
But yeah, man. Yeah, but it's our Texas winter, rain and more rain, and a little bit of cold, and that's what we get. Well, at least in South Texas, Southwest Texas, where we are. And are we in Southwest? I guess we're kind of Southwest Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. We're Southwest.
Southeast. No, we're Southeast Texas.
Southeast?
Yeah, because we're going towards the East Coast.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, we'd be Southeast Texas.
Yep, Southeast.
But not far East Texas.
Yeah. No.
Because we're still
mildly east.
Go about 2 hours from the Louisiana border, so mildly east, yeah. But yeah, so but other than that, man, the Oscar nominations came out this week, and that caused a shitstorm of controversy, which is, the funniest thing I think about this is most people at the end of the day don't really care about the Oscars all that much, but yet they love to talk about them. I'm excited that Godzilla -1 got a nomination for visual effects. 35 people worked on that film, including the director himself, to make the special effects, and the entire crew was celebrating their nomination, and that's a huge win for a franchise that's 7 years old this year, and it's their first ever Oscar nomination in that franchise. And that's a huge win for the genre, a huge win for Godzilla fans, and a huge win for that movie, which is hitting this weekend. Will hit 100 million worldwide, which is a huge success for that film. In Indiana Jones, John Williams, the master, got another Oscar for his score work on it, or an Oscar nomination. but the controversy lied in, Oppenheimer, of course, was the big one with like 13 nominations.
Yeah.
Expected to take home a lot of awards, but this Barbie controversy and is interesting because I watched Barbie, and we both did, and we talked about it. We
Yeah.
found it an enjoyable film, and but I never once watched it even thinking Oscars. Like I didn't feel like it was
Yeah.
an award type flick at all. Okay,
No,
and
it's a comedy, right? I
right, and
mean,
I get it. It's a
comedies
global
never
phenomenon.
win,
No, it's a global
ever.
phenomenon. People went and saw it, but do you feel that it was a global phenomenon because of the whole going against Christopher Nolan's film type thing? The media played into it. There wasn't a whole lot going on at the box office. It just, to me, a lot of Barbie was right moment, right time. And I'm not taking away from the film because it was an entertaining film. But I hate to wonder if this comes out in a really crowded pre-COVID summer, does it do as well? It will still have done well, but would it have done as well? Because the movie is okay. It's fun, but it's nothing spectacular. It blew my mind that it got a Best Picture nomination. I'm like, what? It's not even close to a Best Picture nomination. Um, I can kind of accept that, it got a Best Actor for Ryan Gosling. And I know the controversy is, well, Margot didn't get one, which is literally the plot of the film. But, you cancel Barbie by letting Ken win. But at the same time, it's a movie, and these are real life. And then Ryan Gosling was legitimately good in the film. Not that Margot wasn't either, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it. And then people are up in arms on the internet about it, and they're freaking out, because of all this stuff about why there's no nomination for poor old Margot. And she's been nominated a couple times before. So she's had her accolades. And, well, I guess Ryan has too. I guess he's been nominated before too. But at the end of the day, it's just a Barbie film. And it might not win anything,
No, and it's like if you look at the list of directors that the film went against, it's like, are you really going to win against Scorsese
Right.
and
Or Christopher
working with
Nolan.
Leo, or Christopher Nolan? It's like if Barbie was directed by Christopher Nolan, I think it would be a
That
completely
would be
different
interesting.
thing. Yeah, dude, it would be fucking epic. Barbie would
Yeah.
have like, I don't know, like a grappling hook, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, for me, there's been some years I paid a little more attention. Like when Mad Max got a lot of nominations, I was kind of rooting for it to kind of win. And The Dark Knight, back when Heath Ledger won for his Joker performance years ago. But overall, that's what I root for, is I see films that I really enjoyed and hope they win. Like, it'd be great if Godzilla wins. I don't know if it will, going up against Guardians of the Galaxy and a couple other big visual effects films. But if it won, man, that would be incredible. Those are the kind of things I look for, If Oppenheimer doesn't win big awards, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I still enjoy the movie. It is what it is, But I just think it's funny how the Oscars cause so much controversy for something people claim they don't even care about,
Yeah, people that don't even watch it, they're like, oh, this is the plot that Barbie, of the Barbie movie, and Ken getting a nomination and not Barbie. That's the whole plot. And, they're all, acting like they're upset, but really they just went about their day, had their coffee, ate something for lunch, and probably forgot about that they even posted that tweet.
Yeah, exactly. And then they'll also be the same ones that don't watch it, and then they log in the internet that Monday morning and see who won and who didn't, and they'll complain again.
Yeah,
Like,
we're like, whoa, what am I supposed to be upset about? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
exactly. But
let me just
whatever.
repost this without knowing any context about that category or anything.
And exactly. I mean, I think I'm more upset that I'm going to complain that Godzilla -1 didn't get a Best Picture nomination.
Yeah,
and I
that's
know
a more
Japan.
valid complaint.
I know Japan chose to enter a different film, that's another stupid rule of the Oscars. Why can only one film from each country for Best Foreign Language Film be nominated? Why can't they?
Because the
nominate more than
Oscars,
one?
they can't be invaded by too many awesome foreign films.
I guess that's true.
It's true, man. What happened if like all of them were foreign, and then they're like, "Man, America, you suck."
Well, I mean, that's the
nothing at
way
the
it
Oscars.
deserves to be. Then that's the way it deserves to be.
For real, man. Hey, credit where credit is due, right?
Yeah.
If you lose, you lose.
Exactly. But so the Oscars in the news this week, and and we're not doing news every week anymore, but we're gonna touch on some stuff. I didn't realize that we were this close to Tron 3 started filming.
Oh shit.
Some people aren't too happy about Jared Leto starring in this one, but maybe Jared can make up for his Morbius film and his last couple things and make something exciting.
For real, man.
And from what I was reading, Jared's a pretty big Tron fan, so hopefully he'll pull in a good performance on that. So I thought that was cool. I didn't realize we were that close to it because it felt like we were never going to get Tron 3, and now it's pretty cool that it's actually started filming. We got a trailer for this final season of The Bad Batch, which looks incredible. I know you still haven't got all caught up on that. You need to, man. You love Star Wars, Matt. I'm telling you, The Bad Batch is really well done. Especially you, because I know you appreciate military films and dealing with, what in The Bad Batch is as much a military drama as is a Star Wars film. I mean, what these soldiers go through in their post-Clone Wars life, and it's really good.
Especially Echo. Echo's probably been through the most of it.
Yeah, just really well done. And it's coming out sooner than we know it. Here in February, The Bad Batch Season 3 hits. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
I want to say I started season 2, and I think maybe I got like 2 episodes in. So I need to go ahead and finish it.
You need to get on it, man. It blows through really easy once you get going.
Yeah. There was a time where I was on it, and I blew through season 1. I was behind. And I think I started season 1 whenever season 2 had come out. And I basically did the same thing I'm saying now. It's like, oh man, I got to get caught up. I'm a season behind. And I caught up really quick. And then I got to the current season. And then I did like 2 episodes and then just kind of faltered out.
And sometimes that happens with a show. And then I kind of liked what I'm hearing, man. They let go of the showrunners for the Daredevil Born Again and brought in new people. And it seems like now that we're going to get basically a season 4 of Daredevil. That looks like this Netflix show is going to continue.
Yeah.
Where the season they're going to bring Bullseye back in. A lot of rumors that the girl who played Elektra is going to be announced soon. So good stuff, man. I like what I'm hearing there because I felt like too much was left undone. It just felt weird to do those 3 seasons and completely ignore it, bring Charlie Cox back, and everybody's like, and pretend those didn't exist. So I'm really liking what I'm hearing from that.
Man. Poindexter's such a good villain.
Yeah.
So it's good bringing him back.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. But those are some of the big news bits of the last couple of weeks that I was looking through and we missed. Other than that, Matt Reeves kind of gave a brief update that said, despite the strikes and Batman not starting filming till this August, that the film is still on tap for next October 2025. So that's good news because I was hoping the Batman 2 didn't get pushed back. Already had wait long enough for it. Jeffrey Wright says he's just waiting for the script to come, and he's ready for it to do it too. So that's exciting news, as being a big Batman fan that I am. But speaking of foreign language films, as some things I watched this week, I started checking out. I didn't finish it yet. I started checking out. They're based on a manga, which is also an anime of it. It's called Kingdom on Netflix. Interesting. It's one of those manga adaptations that's like the acting's a bit over the top. Like it feels like they're trying to capture live action anime or manga on it. And that's kind of a cool story about these 2 slave brothers, and one they plan on being the greatest generals ever, and one of them escapes, and then they basically one of them dies and the other one gets out. He's going to avenge his brother's, what he considers his brother, avenge his death. And that's about as far as I got it. But there's a lot of really bizarre characters and weird, stuff going on. Yeah, live action manga basically. But I guess there's 3 of them. There's a Kingdom 2 and a Kingdom 3 also, and they're all based on the animes. And so I kind of started watching that. I'll try to finish it and I'll give a better report next week. But today I did check out the first episode of Masters of the Universe Revolution to follow up the Revelation from it felt like 2 or 3 years ago since Revelation came out. And I'm watching. I'm like, man, I'm trying to remember everything that happened in Revelation because I'm trying to, it's only 5. It's only 5 episodes, and I don't know if there's 2 parts this season or not. More episodes are coming, but it starts off pretty well with a huge reveal at the end of the first episode, and it's cool, man. Kevin Smith and his crew are making this just continue to throw little tidbits in there for the old school He-Man, Master of the Universe fans. Toys that you saw in the toy store shelves back then, but you never got to see in animation. You're like, hey, they made it. Now there's a cartoon version of that toy. So a lot of cool stuff like that being done in this show. And it just came out today on Netflix. So, I watched the first episode of that. I did take a break from Godzilla's this week. I didn't. I started Godzilla versus Gamora, but didn't get too far into it. But I take a little break because I was blowing through so many Godzilla films. I was like, I'm gonna take a little short break of them and give it a rest. But other than that, just been playing a lot of Ghost of Tsushima. That game is it's great, but good Lord, it's also like extremely heartbreaking. There's so much death in this game, and I'm not talking you as a character killing bad guys. I'm talking things that happen to the character, his friends, people around. Like, man, this game is it's intense, as far as the storylines and stuff. But just a really well done game, and I just can't believe I had it sit on my shelf for almost 2 years. I hadn't really sat down and play it, and now I'm getting around to playing.
Man, I didn't know you bought it a long time ago.
Yeah,
I thought you just got it.
And it was sitting there. I never got around to playing it. Now I've been playing it and been watching those. And that's about. I think that's about all I really watched this week. I don't think I watched much else. Just played a lot of Ghost of Tsushima and then watched a little bit of He-Man and started that movie, and that's about it.
Nice. I finished Yu Yu Hakusho. So they severely abbreviated it. There's no dark tournament. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, there's no dark tournament. The best part of Yu Yu Hakusho is not in there. They do try and get those core battles in of the dark tournament by making all 4 bad guys basically bosses that each character has to fight, and Yusuke Urameshi does team up with Kuwabara, Hiei, and Kurama like in the tournament, but they obviously have to shorten things. One of the things that they shortened that I felt like you really can't shorten or you shouldn't shorten is the relationship between Yusuke and Genkai, his mentor. And it's just like, it's so abbreviated that whenever he finds out she was murdered, I feel like, it doesn't hit as hard because that relationship isn't really formed in the live action series. However, if you are a fan of the anime, kind of what went on and that relationship there. So you can kind of make up for it if you've seen everything. But if you're watching it for the first time, you're like, you don't really, see that, connection, forged. But overall, I think it's a solid live action film. I give it a B- overall.
TV series, sir.
Yeah. Netflix series, TV series. Yeah. Other than that, I did check out Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Jackie really, really wanted to see it, and we went ahead and rented it because I definitely felt like I didn't want to buy it. And it's supposed to come on Peacock in like a month and a half, like 6 weeks. So I was like, you know what? Why not? All right. So birthday month.
Leave a duo that is inevitable. Matt renting or buying a movie, it's going to be streaming within a week or two.
Dude, it may show up streaming in a few days now because I fucking rented it.
It's inevitable.
Yeah. It's okay. It's not a prequel.
I heard it's really long.
It is long. I thought it was going to end way sooner than it did. And I'm like, why is it still going? You've made your point, just end. But, it is what it is. We'll see if there's another Hunger Games movie out of it. I doubt it. But, if it makes money, Hollywood will find a way to replicate it. Other than that, I did rent a Darren Aronofsky film called Mother. I had come aware of this film through TikTok. seeing a very disturbing ending. And then I showed Jackie the trailer. I was like, you ever seen a Darren? You were trying to figure out what to watch last night. And I was like, hey, you ever seen an Aronofsky film? And she's like, no, I haven't. And I was like, well, let me play you the trailer for Requiem for a Dream, something fucked up, And so she's like, I don't know. I can't really get behind that one. And I was like,
Well,
look, hey, what about Mother? And so she's like, oh, that looks terrifying. Yeah, let's watch it. And it's just, it's like watching a nightmare, really.
his only accessible film really is The Fountain.
The Fountain's really the only accessible film. Maybe The Wrestler. The Wrestler, I think you can.
Well, if you like that genre.
Yeah.
Sports.
If you're a fan of wrestling, then that's an accessible one. But I think the only one that's probably available to everybody, your point, The Fountain. But it stars Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, and Jennifer. It said brief nudity, and I didn't realize the brief nudity was Jennifer Lawrence. She's got like a see-through dress on and stuff right at the beginning. Like the credits end, the movie starts, she gets out of bed and she's in a freaking see-through dress looking for Javier, who plays her husband in the film. She's barefoot in the entire film. The movie is such a mind fuck that she had to take a whole year off of acting after she filmed it. She's like, I just can't. This film was just too taxing, too, heavy on my mind. And she didn't go back to acting until a whole year later. And it's a creepy ass film. So you can definitely gather that after you watch it, if you watch it.
No,
so
not interested.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd ever watch it again. It's definitely one of those, if you can rent it or, for cheap or it's streaming, definitely take advantage of it and check it out then. Just to say you've watched it, because it's pretty disturbing, man. I don't know. Other than that, I want to say that might have been everything that I checked out this week.
Speaking of franchises like the Hunger Games that need to let go, did you see they're going to make another Jurassic World movie?
Yeah, I saw that.
Like they're bringing back David Coep to write it, who wrote the original films. And it's kind of like, what more can you really do with those? I enjoy it, don't get me wrong. I'm always down for dinosaurs, but like, the gimmick is kind of up. It's I thought the Jurassic World sort of reboot / sequel was a cool idea, but I don't know what else you can really do with those movies, to the point where it becomes a self parody of it, a self parody if you keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So interesting. I thought it was interesting they're making another one. Now, if you really want to blow people's minds, I know he wouldn't do it, but announce that Spielberg's going to come back and direct it.
Dude.
But no, he won't. He'd probably be like, I've been there, done that. But that would be cool. But anyway, and he could bring back the man that stars in today's film. He could be like the old guy that runs the Jurassic place, since he's like 75 years old now.
Yeah, maybe he could, dude.
But that is Harrison Ford, who, back almost 30 years ago, in 1992, took over the role of Jack Ryan in the follow-up to The Hunt for Red October, and only because Alec Baldwin was busy doing Broadway plays and decided he did not want to quit the Broadway play to go make a movie, which he has said before. He looked back on that, and that was probably a mistake. He realizes that now, that he probably should have come back and played Jack Ryan. Not that Baldwin had a bad career or anything, but he realized, like, I probably should have taken on the role. And
he really should have. It would have made the gap in time a whole lot easier. Right.
Well, because Jack Ryan, this is supposed to be just a few years after The Hunt for Red October, and Jack Ryan's supposed to only be in his late 20s, early 30s, but instead they hired Harrison Ford, who was about 45, 48 at the time, I think, or so. Was it somewhere between that? Was he 50 already?
Well, maybe
no, because he was
Jack
like
Ryan
24 when he did Star Wars. Yeah. So they made Jack Ryan older, and that is Patriot Games, which is the like I said, the sequel to The Hunt for October. I don't even know if I call it a sequel, as these are just movies that kind of have the same characters. James Earl Jones comes back as Admiral Greer, and he's the only returning character from Hunt for October, other than Jack Ryan's character, but not the returning actor as Harrison Ford takes over the role. And this is a movie, Tom Clancy did not really have much to do with, other than his name being on the screenplay adaptation because he wrote the novel. Because Tom Clancy didn't like the script, and he was so he's like, you know what, y'all go make it. I'm not going to be involved with it. But then he came back around for Clear and Present Danger. But from what I've read about Tom Clancy and doing some research on this movie is that, God rest his soul. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the great writers of our time. Yeah. But it seemed like he had grumpy old man syndrome quite a bit from what I've read about Tom Clancy. If he liked it, he was all on board. If he didn't like it, he stayed away from a project with his name on it. But yet that motherfucker sure going to make his money. He'd sell his books and his names on anything. That's kind of what I gathered from doing some research.
The royalties.
Yeah.
I know Ebert did not like this film as it was as a tribute to Ramsey. Clancy, yeah. But Siskel liked it. Siskel liked it. And he thought it was a great thriller. Siskel thought it was great up until the end. He said it felt like an Indiana Jones chase at the end, and that it transformed it into something else, which maybe it did feel a little more indie at the end. Okay. I don't know, but I like it.
Let's not jump that, but I can kind of agree with that. I know this was a first time watch for you. You had seen The Hunt for October, you'd seen Clear and Present Danger, but you hadn't watched Patriot Games. And to summarize this film, basically, Jack has left the CIA and he's spending time as a teacher at the Naval Academy, and so he goes to London to give a speech there and for relations with their military there, and while he's out meeting up with his wife and daughter, some of the royal family members are leaving and they're attacked by Irish terrorists, and Jack basically saves their lives and shoots one of the Irish terrorists brother, and so the brother vows revenge and he manages to escape, which high military security had a problem with that in this movie. Said that would never happen because they would not have ever moved the person on ground. They would move him through air to have him protected from attacks like that. But it's a movie. Got to have a plot, right? So it's played by a very young, very good Sean Bean, who's very villainous in this movie, as he wants to go after Jack and his family and get revenge for his brother. So once the CIA gets wind that Sean Miller who is Sean Bean's character, has escaped, they want to protect Jack, but Jack doesn't. But they also believe that Sean's not going to come to the U.S. Well, they're wrong. He comes to the U.S. and he goes after Jack's family, and basically Jack has to survive and protect his family and fight back at the end and defeat Sean Miller and his bad guys. So yes, I can see Siskel's point at the ending of this film, because I do think that I don't think it's as good as Clear and Present Danger, but I do think it's a very tight, well done thriller. I kind of am a sucker for these 80s, 90s spy thrillers that are just really kind of simple, but have like this sort of, not the intensity level that a Mission Impossible film has, but they have like a certain vibe to them, if that makes sense,
Yeah, man. I think you watch this film and you're like, man, Harrison Ford was the fucking man in the early 90s, man. He was one of the best male leading actors, most likely at that time. I wasn't paying attention at that time, unless it was an Arnold movie, but freaking Harrison was bringing it, man. His acting chops are great in this film.
Yeah,
man.
he's really good.
He pulls Richard Harris in and he gives him the business. He's like, I will make you fucking useless. You won't be able to sell a fucking, toothpick. I don't know. He says something.
He's going up against one of the greatest actors of all time in Richard Harris.
Yeah, dude. and Samuel L. Jackson's in the film. Man, Harrison's great in the film. I was impressed. He's great. I don't know how else to say it. Even Siskel and Ebert, either way they went. They liked the film. They didn't like the film. They're like, well, Harrison's fucking awesome.
Yeah. And Philip Noyce's direction is, it's something about these old grown-up thrillers where
Hmm.
the action is shot with a wide angle camera so you can see what's going on. It's so different from the hyperkinetic action films we get now. Like I enjoy the John Wick films and things like that, but the camera's always moving. There's always a lot of quick edits.
Yeah.
You didn't get that with these older thrillers, that are like this. They're more old-fashioned filmmaking, but they work, especially if they're well acted and they have a
Yeah.
good script. And it helps when you have a good bad guy. I mean, as good as Harrison Ford is, I'm going to throw some props to Sean Bean. I think he's really good for a young actor in this movie. You buy into his rage and his hatred for Jack Ryan wanting revenge for his brother.
Yeah, he's willing to jeopardize his whole team, the operations that they're involved in, just so that he can get a piece of Harrison Ford and just ruin his, connection with everybody that's close to him.
Yeah. And the only thing I thought was a bit strange was like he manages to, and it's you can avoid this because it's a movie, but like he escapes, right, and he manages to get into the U.S. Okay, but then he leaves the U.S. again to go training, but then he gets back in the U.S.
Africa, yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. So U.S. military is watching this guy, but yet he's going back and forth. It's like,
they got satellite images.
Right.
And then, he gets to Africa and one of his teammates are like, hey, by the way, you didn't actually kill Harrison's family and Harrison ain't dead. And he's like, what? Oh, the bloody hell. I better go back there and do it myself. And they're like, no, please don't, and he just takes off and does it.
Yeah, like, you got to stay with the cause. And he's like, nah, screw that.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck you.
It's kind of cool. Like, it's so different seeing a movie with Irish terrorists instead of, everything is Arabic terrorists or whatever, in a lot of these films, Islamic terrorists. And so it's like, hey, it's a movie or Russian terrorists. It's a movie. It's not nuclear Russians. It's not, it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
Irish
fucking
militants.
Whiskey and potato loving, Irish fucking taking your country, dude.
Right.
Take you over, bitch. And
there's this huge Irish community I don't know. I know Boston, Massachusetts, and all that, but like they're in Maryland, right? Is there that big of an Irish community in Maryland that Jack Ryan goes to a bar?
Isn't that
Jack
Notre
Ryan
Dame?
goes to a bar and is it?
Isn't that where Notre Dame is?
Notre Dame's Notre Dame University is in Indiana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man, there's some Irish. St. Mary's. St. Mary's is in Maryland, right?
Is that in Maryland?
Maybe so. That's an Irish college. So there's some Irish there. I wouldn't say it's prevalent. It's not like Hispanics in San Antonio over here, but definitely something there.
Then the next question is, where do they find this many Irish actors?
For real, man.
There's a whole bunch of them.
There's a lot. And it ain't Samuel Jackson.
No. Well, yeah, it's cool seeing Samuel in this movie in a small role that I kind of like seeing Samuel and it's kind of nice seeing Samuel in a role where he's not the Samuel we know today. Yeah. He's actually really good when he's more quiet and calm. I appreciate the Samuel that's all like, say what, motherfucker? Don't get me wrong. But it's kind of cool seeing him in a more of a quiet friendship role. He's Jack's buddy.
Military, kind of grounded, just straight up acting. That's it.
Yeah.
Not trying to be, not do his signature thing, but just acting.
Yeah. And then you have James Earl Jones is always great in anything he's in as Admiral Greer.
I forgot.
And Admiral Greer is like Jack's his go-to man in the books and everything. And Sam and he's fantastic. And it's funny, I actually like the guy who plays Admiral Greer in the Jack Ryan TV show a lot too. He's really good. But James Earl Jones is great in this, and he comes back from Clear and Present Danger too. In fact, I think did his character die in Clear and Present Danger?
I thought so.
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah,
he's got to die in Clear and Present Danger.
Yeah, and and he's James Earl Jones is one of those guys. It's always a pleasure to see him on screen, and and he even saves Jack. They want Jack to come back to the CIA in this movie, and at first he turns him down, says no, I'm enjoying my quiet life. But then when he gets the panic button that Sean's out there hunting his family, he decides to come back, and the the guy who's initially in charge of the operation tells Jack, "No, we don't want you back." And he comes in and he goes, "Oh, so where were you at in this conversation? Oh, telling us why we'd be better off without Jack." Kind of drops a little joke saying, "No, you better hire Jack back because I said he can come back."
Mm-hmm. And then even his wife is like, "Jack, do whatever the fuck you need to cut this guy's nuts off."
Well, yeah, because
in a roundabout way.
his daughter's lying in the hospital fighting for
Without a spleen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. I thought they were gonna die. I thought he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, man, is he gonna lose his family? What's gonna happen here?
And but he doesn't. Sean. I don't know why I said that. Sean Bean. I was looking at his career, his IMDb list. He was known for playing bad guys, and this is kind of was the first one where it kind of started. He went on to play bad guys and this and National Treasure, and of course, he wasn't a bad guy in Lord of the Rings, but he was a guy who had he
had some skeletons
and things like that. And Sean Bean would joke about it back to the day about how he's a guy always played bad guys who got killed in movies. And lately he's been doing a lot more. I was looking to see where he's been lately. He's doing a lot more TV work and stuff lately. He's been appearing on different TV shows and things like that. So I was like, man, what happened to Sean Bean? The dude was in everything, and now I hardly ever see him anymore.
Yeah. He was always the dude that died,
Yeah, all the time. He died in Troy. He died in Lord of the Rings. He died in this. Mm-hmm. He died in Equilibrium. I'm sure there's many more we can think of that he died of. Just Sean Bean, the guy you hire when he dies.
Yeah, man.
And the scar he has on his face after this movie, he got from this film. When he's fighting Harrison Ford in the boat, he caught him with like a hook or something in it on accident. And then,
shit.
He actually has a scar for a few years after that in feature films he did. You can see it on Sean Bean's face. So let's talk about that ending. I can see how Siskel said the ending felt a bit Indiana Jones. I guess because in The Last Crusade you had the boat chase.
Yeah,
I think the similarity stopped there. But what I do think about the ending is that this is a really tight thriller, right? And it's very focused. And then at the end, Sean, they have the guards protecting the house because Harrison Ford's the royal family wants to come visit Jack in America. The ones it was a royal cousin that he saved, and Jack's like, "Sure, I'd love to have you in my home." So they come to visit the home, and of course, there's military guards outside watching the house, and the power goes out. But Jack realizes the power's still on the boathouse, so he knows something's wrong. They can't get a hold of the military, and Sean Miller and his men attack the family at the house. So there it goes from being a tight, focused thriller to kind of a chase movie at the end, and does feel a little rushed in the last 10 minutes. So I can see why Siskel would argue that. It almost felt like, I think it might have worked better is if you had Jack come around to his military training skills that we saw at the beginning of the film, and maybe had him pick off the bad guys one by one, almost Die Hard style, and then have a one-on-one with Sean Miller. Maybe that would have worked better, kept it more tight than becoming a chase movie at the end. Because they had this big chase on the boat. It's real dark. You can't really see him fighting Sean on the boat.
You really can't, man. I had to turn my lights off and make sure.
Then all of a sudden, he kind of gets the better of Sean, and he manages to drop him onto a hook anchor and stab him through the chest. And you're like, oh, well, that's the last of Sean Miller. Then he has to jump off the boat before it explodes in the rocks, So it does become kind of an action. But was that also a product of the times? Movies would do that. Like, hey, let's have the big action sequence at the end of the film. Not like movies now. You'll spend money throughout the film, and now you got to entertain an audience for 2 hours, so you'll have action throughout the movie. Back then it was a different maybe type of filmmaking.
Yeah, man. It's just Harrison Ford, in the 70s, get off my ship. In the 90s, it was get off my plane, get off my boat, just get off my, get off this, get off that, it's all good.
So your first time watching it though. But I know you usually appreciate movies like this, good, solid action thrillers.
Yeah, we've all, watched movies around this era, and there's definitely a style that works. And when you find something that works, you just find a way to put a new spin on it. We've seen it with Die Hard. We've seen it with any film that broke the mold. And now it's find a magical child and an adult, or a special child and an adult. Now that's the key. So every era has that that formula, and this is definitely one of those movies as that involves terrorist and secret service or CIA. It definitely has a repetitive style that we've seen before, but with Harrison Ford in it. And Harrison does a great job. Sean Bean, like you said, good villain. He, and then his lawyer tries to make it like he was trying to actually help at the time.
Right.
Like, what? How'd
Yeah,
you
that scene
know
was
he
kind of
was a
like, wait,
bad
what?
guy?
Yeah.
And Harrison's like, with a ski mask,
right.
you idiots.
And the film was successful, and that did get the sequel made, and Philip Noyce came back to direct Clear and Present Danger.
Yeah.
And then after that, they were going to make the next one, but then Harrison Ford kind of wanted to take a break. He didn't want to do it. He had done Star Wars and Indiana Jones. He didn't really want to get caught in another franchise. And then when talk was coming around about them doing the next film years later, of course, 9/11 happened, so they never did make Red Rabbit, which would have been the next film in the series where Jack Ryan becomes president. They end up doing the prequel instead that starred Ben Affleck. But then we had another prequel with Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit, where he gets recruited in the CIA by Kevin Costner. So there's been several Jack Ryan films over the years, and then the Jack Ryan TV series that's on Amazon Prime now with Joseph Straczynski. And I imagine we'll get more Jack Ryan in the future. It's a franchise that is very popular and may not go anywhere. We'll have another reboot one day, with another actor.
Yeah. They'll figure out who to reboot it with, and probably have whoever played Jack Ryan in one of the films be the CIA director or something.
Yeah, but Harrison's my favorite. I mean, Harrison's one of my favorite actors of all time, so he's my favorite Jack Ryan.
Yeah, man, he's good. I mean, he really, it's a good thing that he was discovered as a stagehand in Star Wars. It's like, who would have known what would have happened if we never got him as Han Solo?
Oh, was it Star Wars? No, I thought it was because he had already done American Graffiti with Lucas. I thought that's where he was a stagehand.
Oh, maybe that's where he was stagehand. Yeah. He had the actor had called in sick or something, and they just needed him to read lines, and he read the lines, and
so he could read the lines and drive a car, and Harrison was old enough to drive a car. That's what it was. American Graffiti.
That's right.
Because a lot of the young actors couldn't drive cars, and Harrison was like, "Well, I know how to drive a car." Yeah, that's it. I remember this story too. But yeah, man, Patriot Games, good film. All the Jack Ryan movies are on Max if you haven't seen them. So they're all available, and I've seen them all. It's something I enjoy about all of them, really. So they're good movies. If you want to see the Baltimore Ravens, who are going to be in the AFC Championship game this weekend, if you want to see their stadium get blown up, watch Sum of All Fears. If I remember right, that's the stadium that gets blown up in that film. If I remember correctly. So next week we're going to shift genres from espionage thrillers to a Western. Have you seen this movie, Matt?
Magnificent Seven?
No, Silverado.
Silverado, no.
So you do 3 straight weeks of first time watches for you.
Yeah, dude. So, you've been picking them, man.
So this is we are doing next week the Western film Silverado.
You're wearing my hat. What else you got that's mine?
Now, I don't want to kill you, and you don't want to be dead.
You can't be that good.
Let's get out!
What's all this, then?
This is a crazy town, Emmett. I think we ought to just get out of here.
No, this is your horse. Can't you see this horse loves me? Making a big mistake.
That's what I told him.
If I brought a pretty lady like that into a place like this, I'd stay close. I think you got a point, Emmett. Maybe I better stay here with her.
Well, we're going to give you a fair trial, followed by a first-class hanging.
I had enough of what ain't right.
Some people think They can push you around, but it's only true if you let it be.
I don't want you to get hurt. You want one of these? This ought to do.
Let's get him!
Hanging around with you is no picnic.
This was a movie that was supposed to be Hollywood's return to the Westerns. After the Eastwood era had come and gone. And and Kevin Kline, Kevin Costner, Jeff Goldblum. This movie had a fucking cast, right? Directed by Lawrence Kasdan, who of course, worked on the Star Wars films. But the movie came, $29 million budget, only made $32 million. It ended with a dud. But it found a home through home video, Saturday matinees, now years later, streaming services. And it's a shame because it's a good film. It's a fun movie. It's very different than the gritty spaghetti westerns. It's more of a Hollywood western, if that makes sense. And it's a fun movie. A very young Kevin Costner in this, who's kind of different in this. I mean, he's a small part in it, but and this is the movie that with Costner, grew up watching westerns, and he finally got to make one when he was young. And of course, we know he's going on to make a few since then. But this was a big film when it came out. It was supposed to be. It just did not make the money they wanted to. So it's on Netflix right now, and it's a good fun movie to watch. And so next week we're going to talk Silverado, and I think you'll enjoy this one too, Matt, and have fun watching it.
Yeah, man. But, that sounds like fun.
But until then, the rebelradiopodcast.com for all your Rebel Radio needs as we continue on our 10th anniversary year of the show. And as we march towards May when the official 10th anniversary occurs. But until then, check out the website and all our apps. And until then, this has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
And I realize I just said until then like 3 times in 1 minute. But remember, as always, just go there and do it.
Go there and do it.